Hi everyone, welcome back to another vegan what I eat in a day. And so for breakfast one day recently I made some cherry Bakewell baked oatmeal. I started by preheating my oven to 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and then in a small baking dish I added in 1 cup of oats, half a cup of flaked almonds, half a cup of cherries. I used frozen cherries that I'd defrosted, but you could use fresh. Then I added in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 3 tablespoons of maple syrup and 1 cup of almond milk. I gave that a really good mix, and then I finally sprinkled over 1 tablespoon of coconut sugar on the top. I then placed that in the oven to bake for 25 to 30 minutes, and once it was done I served it up in a bowl. I only had half, so it really makes 2 portions, and you could reheat the other half and have it for breakfast the next day, or you could even have it as a dessert. You could also make this with raspberries, blueberries or strawberries, and the combination of the sharp fruits with the sweetness of the oats and the maple syrup and the crunchiness of the almonds is just all so delicious. It's a really warming, filling breakfast for the autumn-winter months, but it works just as well in the summer with these summer berries. For a morning snack I had some kidney bean mash on quinoa crackers. I started by finely dicing up 1 red pepper, and then I sliced up 2 spring onions and 1 small bunch of fresh coriander. Then in a bowl I added in half a cup of kidney beans, then the red pepper, the spring onions and the coriander, the juice of half a lemon, and I seasoned it with some salt and black pepper. I gave that a really good mix and almost mashed the beans up at the same time, and then I spread that on top of 2 quinoa crackers, and again any leftovers can be stored in a container in the fridge for up to 3 days. You could also use this as a sandwich filling or in a salad, and you could try it with cannellini beans instead of kidney beans. It's just a really great versatile spread. For lunch I made a tomato and basil soup. I first roughly sliced 1 white onion, and then I placed that in a pan with 1 teaspoon of olive oil on a medium heat. I then browned off the onions, and once they were soft I minced in 2 cloves of garlic and added in 1 tablespoon of tomato paste, and then fried that off for a few minutes. In the meantime I chopped up 4 large tomatoes, removing the tough top part of the core, and this doesn't have to be neat as everything gets blended up in the food processor anyway. I added those into the pan, I gave that a really good mix, and then I threw in a large handful of fresh basil leaves, seasoned it with salt and black pepper, and then poured in 1 pint of vegetable stock. I placed the lid on and then let it simmer for around 20 minutes. Once it had all cooked down I transferred it over to my food processor, let it blend for a few minutes until it was smooth, and in the meantime I placed a slice of my superfood bread from the freezer under the grill. You can always transfer the soup back to the pan to blast it through with some more heat, and then I served up half of that in a bowl, so again this makes 2 portions, and this freezes really well, or you can eat it the next day. I topped it with some cracked black pepper, some shredded basil, and then the sliced superfood bread on the side. I do often make soup for lunch. It's so nutritious and really easy to make. It's a case of just adding vegetables into a pan, letting them cook down and then blending them up, and it really doesn't take that long to do. Tomato soup is one of my favourite kind of soups, and this is just so rich and flavourful, and the basil just gives it even more of an amazing flavour. For an afternoon snack I had these Punch Foods Super Seeds in coconut brownie, and this is just a mix of sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, raw cacao powder, coconut sugar, coconut flakes and coconut oil, and they look and taste like little pieces of brownie but with a whole lot of crunch from the seeds. These are great just to snack on whilst I'm working on my computer, but I also love to throw them in my bag and have them as a snack on the go as well. For dinner I made some Mexican spicy rice with loaded nachos and toasted cheesy corn. I started by making the rice, and for this I chopped up 1 white onion, and then I placed that in a pan with a little olive oil and just allowed them to brown off. I then added in 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of cumin, half a teaspoon of paprika and 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. I let that cook for a few minutes, and then I added in 1.5 cups of rinsed drained brown rice and half a cup of canned tomatoes, seasoned it with salt and black pepper, and again I let it cook down for another couple of minutes. I then added in 1 pint of vegetable stock and let that simmer for around 20 to 25 minutes until the rice was cooked. In this time I heated up some of my nacho cheese sauce. The recipe for this is down below, in a small saucepan, and I constantly have batches of this in my fridge and freezer. Then in another pan I added 2 cups of corn kernels. You could use tinned, frozen or even shaved corn, again with a little drizzle of olive oil, and once they began to toast I then sprinkled over 3 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, gave it a really good mix, and then left that on a very low heat. Also in this time I made up some fresh guacamole and tomato salsa, and the recipes for both of these are down in the description box below as well. I then arranged these R.W. Garcia organic blue corn chips on a plate. These taste amazing. They're the best I've come across, and even though they're blue, they're all natural. They're actually a more complete protein source compared to regular chips. They're still salty enough and perfect for nachos, but they are slightly sweeter and nuttier in taste. I then drizzled over the cheese sauce, added on the salsa and guacamole, and I finished it with some leftover chopped spring onion, coriander and some chopped jalapenos. I also served up the corn and the rice into dishes, and we just helped ourselves. I could eat loaded nachos all day long, and this vegan creation is one of my favourites. I think Mexican food has to be my favourite after Asian food. The rice is also a great one as well to have with chili. I'll link to my 3-bean chili down below, and the toasted corn just has so much flavour. It works really nicely with the other dishes. We occasionally do things like this just for the 2 of us, but this would be amazing for a party or to have with a group of friends too. You could of course also add some vegan sour cream onto the nachos, and I have a homemade cashew recipe which I will link to down below. I had dessert much later on, and I just used up the rest of my cherry Bakewell oatmeal. I almost made it into a sundae with some cherry ice cream too. For that I just blended up 1 frozen chopped banana with a small handful of frozen cherries. Again, you could use fresh cherries, and I stacked that in a glass with some more flaked almonds on the top. I love to make these sundaes with anything and everything I have left over. Cookies, crumbles, cakes. It's a great way to get creative with your leftovers, but to be honest my eye was much bigger than my belly and I only managed to eat just over half of this. And that is it for another day on my plate. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I wanted to take this chance also to say thank you so much, because my channel just hit 100,000 subscribers. I know most of you are here for the food videos, so I will keep them coming. Thank you so much for watching and for subscribing, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye!